And this is when he forces the kiss on her in this chapter, I believe.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so he calls her
Yeah,
mean.
not a lot happens for the first half of this book. It's pretty,
Yeah.
like I just don't remember big long chunks
Yeah,
of
dude,
it.
like I
Like
said,
I vaguely remember that things
when I was
happen.
watching the movie.
But I think I kind of tuned out a lot of it
Yeah.
because I didn't have my hard copy of the book until like chapter 13. So I like found a PDF and I was also like listening to it. And once I got to chapter 13, I was like taking notes and stuff in the book, but man, where I did not have the hard copy, I did not remember a lot of things or like what order they happened in.
I
Wait,
like I said, dude, when the movie came on, like the first 20 minutes, I was like, wait, I don't remember this at all. I don't know. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that did happen in this book, didn't it? Just completely forgot, like, the first 120 pages. Like, and I had literally read them a few days before watching the movie, and I had just completely forgotten. But yeah, that's just, I guess it's just part of this type of genre, right? It's disposable. It's trash art, right? Trash art is disposable.
yeah,
We're not going to be remembering this shit hundreds of years from now. We will not, despite what people say, we will not be remembering Twilight. We
no.
will be remembering Harry Potter. We can get into that
This
distinction,
is a Harry
right?
Potter
We
book.
can get into that distinction and why, but we'll save that for the Harry Potter episodes. Yeah, okay, and then Jacob basically being like, you're mean, Bella, Page 329, Bella, do you think you could behave yourself a little better at least? I asked, irritated. No, I don't. You decide, Bella. You can have me the way I am, bad behavior included, or not at all. I stared at him, frustrated. That's mean. So are you. That pulled me up short, and I took an involuntary step back. He was right. If I wasn't mean and greedy too, I would tell him I didn't want to be friends and walk away. This is a big moment. This is the biggest thing that happens in the novel, in my opinion, like in terms of the love triangle. Where she basically
Yeah,
realizes that, yeah, she is basically toying with Jacob. And Jacob's the first character to be like, you know what? You're actually like, you're not a nice person, Bella. Like, you're not nice. Like, you're not. And I'm like, oh man.
I stared at him, frustrated. That's mean. So are
Yeah,
you.
so are you. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, dude, I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember that. Being like, oh shit, he's gonna call her
That's what I
out.
put in my notes. Did I put, oh shit? And then the page after that is the forced kiss, dude.
The forced kiss.
All right, and this is not how it came
Yeah.
off in the movie at all.
They say they love each other all the time
Yeah,
too.
while they hold hands and
I'm just not in
right.
love with you.
Yeah, okay. Look, dude, look, we've all been there, dude. Let's just say if I was trying to court a woman in my teen years, let's just say if she wasn't into me, we were not holding hands and telling each other we loved each other as friends. Like it was
Yeah.
not. That is not a real. Like it's not a real thing. It
No,
doesn't.
you'd be like very turned off. You'd
Yeah,
be like,
it
ew,
it
this is
it
creepy.
doesn't exist outside of like elementary school. Okay, like it does not exist in real relationships, in real dynamics, sexual or otherwise. It does not exist, dude. That's why I kept getting so kind of baffled by the hand holding and the I love yous. We're just friends, but we love each other. Blah blah. Blah. Okay, yeah.
Till your heart stops beating, Bella. I'll be here fighting.
Yeah. And they soften this kind of what I mean, dude. When we read it, like we texted about this. Like I read it, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like this basically sexual assault. I guess you would call it that, right?
I mean,
The
yeah.
way it's described, the way because you hear it from Bella's perspective, and she's describing
The
it,
way it's described, I'm like, oh shit.
right?
Like, I mean, basically, like she shuts down, like
Yeah.
at some point, right?
Well,
His lips crushed
she,
mine,
yeah,
stopping my protest. He kissed me angrily, roughly, his other hand gripping tight around the back of my neck, making escape impossible. I shoved against his chest with all my strength, but he didn't even seem to notice. His mouth was soft despite the anger, his lips molding to mine in a warm, unfamiliar way. I grabbed at his face, trying to push it away, failing again. He seemed to notice this time, though, and it aggravated him. His lips forced mine open, and I could feel his hot breath in my mouth. Next to this, I wrote, ew. But above this, I did write, like, this seems
Yeah.
bad. That seems not good.
They did soften it in the movie. The
Yes.
movie did not
They
seem like he
made
was
it.
holding her arms to her sides and forcing her to like take his
Well, because
kiss.
there's no way to make Taylor
Yeah.
Lautner seem that strong that you wouldn't notice her pushing
I'm gonna
away
hold your
because he's
arms
Taylor.
down as you push against my chest and force you as you're clawing at my face to like suck my kiss.
Suck my breath.
Yeah, suck my breath.
Hot dog breath.
Yeah, dude, that wolf breath.
Acting on instinct, I let my hands drop to my side and shut down. I opened my eyes and didn't fight, didn't feel, just waited for him to stop. It's like, yeah, that seems bad. Sounds like an assault. Stephenie Meyer writes a lot of sexual assault.
Yeah, and she writes it in a way that is almost too, I don't want to say sterile, because it's not sterile. It's not like giving us a matter of a fact kind of depiction of it or something, you know? But it's missing something. And I mean, this is kind of a theme we've been talking about all these episodes, like a little lackluster in a lot of the things she does. But yeah, and this was a little bit like, I remember reading this and being like, oof, this is a little forceful.
I felt like this was like a little bit much for Stephenie Meyer. I was like,
Right.
oh, Stephenie,
And
you're being provocative.
yeah. And
Because this is trash art, and are you really like, I don't know. I don't feel like this is making a commentary in the way that maybe, I mean, maybe it is.
yeah.
Like, I don't fucking know. But like, I also don't really care.
well, in 2007, it was not making the type of commentary we would put on it today, post
Right.
Me Too and all that kind of stuff. But it's still, you could argue it's still making a commentary about men being oblivious to, you know, women's not unwanted kind of sexual advances or whatever. But yeah, the way it's described is like holding the arms down and stuff. It made it much more graphic than just like reaching in for a kiss and Bella pulling away, right? Like, it was not that simple. It was like he was forcing her and forcing his lips onto her roughly, pulling her hair and spitting in her mouth and yeah, dude.
It's like you read what a passionate kiss was supposed
Yeah,
to be
dude.
like.
You know, a teen awkwardly, like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, basically it's written as if it's like an assault. That's how it's written, yeah.
But like,
It is, yeah. Unwanted,
it
yeah,
is.
unwanted kissing and blah, blah. But he does accuse her of kissing back, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then we get this kind of,
And then she says, "Are you done now?" And he says, "Yes."
like, that's what I mean. So after that happened, I was like, that's when she punches him in the face and breaks her hand. And it's like, pretty lackluster tension after was the thing that I noticed. Like, the way that this scene is written, the tension seems like we didn't just have that scene, you know? Like, the way that Bella felt in that scene, as if she's...
It's
right.
really yeah, it's weird.
And then she's
It's
just like
like-
over it kind of thing.
It's not like she's over it, but it's just like she is no longer like I like, yeah, it doesn't feel like someone, I mean, she was able to like be an agent again, I guess, after this, even though she like needs a ride home. She like tries to punch him in the face and essentially fails because she breaks her own hand.
Right.
But yeah, it does sort of feel like that didn't happen. And then she like goes home. This is when I thought, isn't this when Charlie's kind of a dick? And she's like, Jacob kissed me, and he was like, ah,
He's...
good for you, kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. So, like, that's... that. Like, the tension...
I was just assaulted. Good
Right.
for you, kid. I mean, that's also not how she says it, but
Right.
like, you
What's I
know.
mean, the way she talks about it after, she talks about it as if it wasn't this kind of... But not just that, you know, whatever. That's, you know, she's a teenager, she's confused.
Yeah, it was also written in a different
Right.
moment. She's a teenager, or maybe she doesn't like, I don't know. If
confused, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't know how to react to something like this. First time somebody's done that, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I was just struck by how much the tension just kind of like went out of the room right after that, because that's a huge moment of tension. Okay, he literally assaults Bella,
Well,
forces this
it's a
kiss.
huge no-no.
Right, that's what I mean.
It's like a huge bad
Right.
thing. Like,
That should
it seems like,
And the
yeah.
reason I marked it like those three successive pages, boom, 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 where it was just like Jacob confessing his love, Jacob calling her mean, Jacob forcing the kiss, and then it just kind of like the air goes out of the balloon. Like you would think that that was such a tension-filled moment, like he's literally forcing a kiss on her like this, and like it just kind of disappears or it like mellows out into this. I guess it was just very confusing, and it's kind of gone along the same lines of everything we've talked about in these three episodes. So like same type of thing, right? I think it's just a problem with the way Stephenie Meyer writes, I think is what it is, more than anything else, where she doesn't, not that she doesn't understand, but I think she didn't take full advantage of what that could be. Like right after that, I was waiting for like a fight, like the fight to break out between Edward and Jacob. Like I was expecting that to happen, and it just didn't. And then Charlie's there being like, "Hey boys, take it outside." But I'm like, this guy's chief of police. Literally two guys fighting over his daughter. Like I was, and again, like these guys are like superhuman too. Like I was, and hate each other with like a deep hundreds, thousands of years of prejudice. And it's like, it just disappears. it just stops mattering like within pages. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. This is also around when doesn't Edward decide that he's like chill now?
Yeah. Edward does like a 180 within like 2 pages. Like
He's like, yeah, no, you can still hang out.
you can get in her sleeping bag. Oh God.
Oh, well, this is also where they're arguing over her. This is when Edward says, but if you ever bring her back damaged again. I was like,
Yeah.
damaged.
Yeah.
I was like, and then we spend like 2 pages of Bella just being an object.
Yeah.
She's mine.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. You know, I mean,
And also made the best man win. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah, dude. Young men, especially. I mean, this is something too. That, like, people are.
Which is funny for someone who was like, no, I've made my choice. This isn't, you don't have to fight over me.
Well, I'm glad you
I
brought
don't
that up
like you.
because I had a question right at this point. Right when like the tension started to fizzle out after that forced kiss, where I was like, "Oh, this is actually some juicy. Oh, here we go," and then it kind of slowly fizzled out, and I was like, no, you could have made a lot more of that. Like that could have been a huge tension, like a huge blow up point in the novel, but it wasn't. And I just was struck with this question where it's like, is it of a woman's or like a young woman's a teenage girl's fantasy to have two men fighting over her at like the same time? Is that something that like not even like a fantasy or something you desire, but is that something that like gives confidence or something that's like, oh yeah, I kind of like these
Oh,
two
I'm
boys
sure.
fighting over me kind of thing,
I'm sure it gives I'm sure it gives
Yeah.
confidence, but
But is it
like
like something
I
people
don't know if
desire or
specifically
like
that I don't know if that's like a specific desire.
yeah, and I guess it depends on the person, the
Well,
personality,
like
all,
I
yeah.
don't see that being as much of a thing, at least like it wasn't for me, as much as like being defended, you know?
Yeah, so same
Protect.
thing, right? Yeah, like a little bit.
So it's still
Yeah,
there.
and I just thought of
There's
it because I
crossover.
was like, man, this is kind of like,
But yeah, if they're both hot as shit, fuck yeah.
yeah, and I guess everybody does like, no matter what,
Huge.
like it's not even just female. Everybody likes sexual attention. Like it's not, it's flattering, right? So like it's not like it's just a female fantasy or something, or a young teen girl fantasy or something. It's
Yeah.
just
But
to be desired is
yeah,
nice. People like
just
that. Yeah, yeah,
manifests in particular ways in the mind of a 17-year-old
right.
girl.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was something, but yeah, I was just like, damn, this lackluster tension, and there was such a moment here for this to really ride out.